A very good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining the webinar today. My name is Christus, and I'm from Password Manager Pro team. So, the list of the masterclass sessions that we conducted this year is right in front of you, and this is the last session of the series, which is about the compliance using a privileged access management solution like Password Manager Pro, what you can get out of it for your IT compliance and security compliance. I hope we have more security administrators or CISOs on the webinar today, attending the webinar today. Great. So if you have missed any of our old interesting sessions of the masterclass of Password Manager Pro, so this series that the sessions would definitely help you to learn about the product, how effectively you can use it. So if you have missed any of these sessions in the past, just go to this link that is displayed here, which says Password Manager Pro Privileged Access Management Masterclass. So you don't want to note it down. What you do is just go to the Google and look for Password Manager Pro Masterclass, and click on the first link, which would get you there, and you can just listen to the old sessions. You can view and listen to the old sessions that we conducted this year. And if you have any questions with any of these, feel free to contact us. Our support email address is also provided here, and you can directly address it to me or Praveen or Ganesh. Once again, I'm Christus from Password Manager Pro team. And today's topic is about infusing PAM in your IT security compliance journey. So as usual, I will be toggling between the Password Manager Pro product and the presentation slide deck. If you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the questions panel in the GoToWebinar panel, so that I can answer it towards the end. And if there are more questions, I will take it and I will reply back as an email to each and one of you, every one of you here. And thank you for taking time to attend the webinar today, everyone. Infusing PAM in your IT security compliance journey. So how Password Manager Pro comes in your way to help you to build reports around your privileged accounts and their access, and what are the compliance requirements an organization would have in terms of privileged access management is what we are going to discuss today during our session. So since we are going to talk about privileged access management and Password Manager Pro, the first thing that we have to know, what are the user roles in Password Manager Pro, the default roles that are allowed to view audits and reports in Password Manager Pro is what it is listed down here in the screen, which are privileged administrator, password auditor. So these are the roles for which we allow to pull out audits or reports in Password Manager Pro by default. So when you log into Password Manager Pro, Password Manager Pro, okay, and you go to the admin tab and you go to the roles section. So these are the default roles that we provide in Password Manager Pro. So if you have missed any one of this, it will be available in one of our previous sessions. You can take a look, or if you have any questions, drop us an email. And these are the default roles available in Password Manager Pro. Among these roles, so you see administrator, password administrator, password auditor, password user, and privileged administrator. So among these 5 roles, we allow access to audits and reports tab just to 3 roles that you see here: privileged administrator, and password auditor. The audits and reports tab will not be available for password administrator and password user. So if I go to password administrator role, you will not see the audits and reports section available for this particular user role. Whereas if I go to the administrator or privileged administrator, you will have the role type called auditing and reporting, which is available right here, audit and generate reports, which would be available right here for the privileged administrator, and password auditor are the 3 users for which it will be available. If you want this audits and reports tab to be available to a user role, a default role, or maybe like you want to create a custom role, all you need to do is just click on add role and go to generate reports and enable the options required. And one interesting thing here is that uh, these operations which comes under audits and generate reports does not require an administrative license. So this operation which has the legend bar right here, which has the magic band, this means it is an administrator operation, whereas when you go into audits or reports, the administrator operations is not required and an administrator license is not required. So you can create your own custom role, or you can also have any of the templates which are already available, and you can create the audits and reports operation. You can assign it to these roles. So what is the benefit is that when they log in, the audits and reports tab will be explicitly available for these users in Password Manager Pro. So you have to remember default role, privileged administrator, administrator, and password auditor only will have access to audits and reports. Whereas if you want any other users, you have to create a custom role as you wish. So these are the roles that requires permission to view the audits and reports in Password Manager Pro. So going into the reports a little bit in detail, where are these available, right? So in Password Manager Pro, pretty much in all places, we have embedded the reports that is required for an IT administrators to fetch out the information as and when required. So we have reports right here that you can directly see next to the roles so that you can find the information about the role report, right? So you can just export it to an XLS, export to a PDF, and send it to your auditor. So which will be useful for the auditor to check out what's going on out there, right? So about the roles. So similarly, reports are available pretty much in all areas in Password Manager Pro. So you can see it under the resources section, right? So you want to pull information about a single resource, right? So the details about a single resource, about to whom it is being shared, and what are the access control, or what are the details that are being assigned to a resource is available right here under the resource actions. You have to click on this button, go to resource details, and you can find it right here about the information about the resource. So it will give you the complete information, including the audit data about this particular resource for 10 days. So if an auditor or a CISO requires the information about a single resource, you can fetch it right out of it from here, export to XLS or export to PDF, or email the report, or directly print it right from here too. And just with one click, if you would like to access the snapshot of a resource, it's available right here, which is access snapshot. So you can see who has view permission, who has modify permission, or who has full access permission. Accounts and access control information is available right in front of you. So this is based on a single resource if you want. So I hope you all know what a resource is meant in Password Manager Pro. A resource is nothing but a container which consists of all the local accounts on it or domain accounts. A collection of accounts forms a resource in Password Manager Pro, right? So these are the accounts with the passwords. So the next thing is resource group reports. Resource group reports are available on the groups. So as you all know, like we can create two types of resource groups in Password Manager Pro. One would be the dynamic group, other one would be the static group, right? So dynamic group and static group, whatever group you create in Password Manager Pro, or if you would like to know how to create groups, just please go ahead and check out our old masterclass. It will tell you how we create groups in Password Manager Pro 2. So dynamic group and static group is how you create it, right? So if you want to pull a report out of the dynamic group or a static group, there is a reports icon available next to the group that you can take a look at as soon as you want and just get the complete information out of the tool using the resource group reports. Similarly, we have provided this information also under the users and user group section. So if an IT administrator or like a security administrator requires an information about an employee, an immediate malicious employee, about what are the resources he had access, whatever the resources he had access, like if he has caught for some malicious activity, you want to pull out an audit right out of the tool on the privileged access, you get in here into Password Manager Pro, go to the user section, and next to the user, you will have the report that you can fetch out about a single user. Okay, so just admin, if he's an admin, just pull out the report, a user report, and you can just get out all the information about when he accessed what and all the information under the resource audit, which would be available here, and also what are the resources that are being shared to this user, and all the information about it will be beautifully presented before you when you click on the reports button right there. And if you want to do a reset on all the passwords accessed by this user, you can do it by a single click which says reset passwords accessed by this user, which will in turn reset the passwords of this user immediately when the user leaves the organization. All right. So this is are the places where the reports is available. And the next is the user groups report. And before that, we have the user access snapshot. So you can just have a real quick look about like what are the resources he has owned and like what are being shared with this user, all just on a single click using the snapshot available here. So the reports and snapshot on users is available here, resources available right here on the actions, resource details, and groups is available right here under the resource groups. You can find the reports, right? And next one is user group reports. So you have users collected as groups, right? So let's say you have Linux administrator put into a single group, Windows administrators into a single group. You want to fetch information about that particular groups in Password Manager Pro. You have to just click on the user groups report that you see next to the user group, which would give you the complete information about the user groups and their access and configuration about all the settings you have on the group level. This also can be done like XLS, PDF, and email or print can be done. So these are the individual reports that you can fetch out of Password Manager Pro based on the resources, resource groups, user groups, and users. So you can fetch it out as and when required and send it to your auditor. Privacy settings. So we have GDPR privacy, right? So the compliance. And Password Manager Pro is a fully compliant solution for GDPR. And to enable that, we have an option available right here under the settings, which says privacy settings. You have to just get in here, and whatever information that you want to redact or mask, you have to just put enable privacy so that it masks those information which would not be available for view directly. So which would also like like if a user would like to do some shoulder surfing behind you, if you mask or redact the passwords, so you can select like mask or redact right by selecting the tick mark, so that is not visible in plain text for any users or even for yourself. Unless you click it, it will not be available. And if you want to, like Password Manager provides various options to export the passwords out of the tool, right? So if you want to have it encrypted, please use this option. This is the best practice that I would suggest you to do. Provide a passphrase. Any user exports anything out of Password Manager Pro, that would be encrypted using this passphrase you provide. So that is how you make it more secure, Password Manager Pro. So that's about the privacy settings. Now coming to the important section about the today's topic, which is audits. So Password Manager Pro audits the information since the day one it is being installed, and also since a user logs in till he logs out. Each and every single click he does inside the tool is audited in Password Manager Pro, and it's available in a dedicated section called Audit in Password Manager Pro, right? And we have like segregated this as resource audit, user audit, task audit, and user sessions that you see here. Resource audit, user audit, task audit, and user sessions which are available. So we are going to go through them one by one. Resource audit is nothing but you have resources in Password Manager Pro, and any operations that is performed around the resources will fall under the resource audit. So I'm just going to show you the operation type. Okay, if you just click on this operation type, it would show you the complete operations for which the audit is enabled in Password Manager Pro. So you have a complete huge list available right here, and so you can just keep scrolling and see, like, it would be pretty much everything that it audits, right? And if you want to filter and find out a particular information, just use this option right here which says password approved, account resource modified, or anything, which are predefined filters. And also you can create your own filter by providing the filter name, match all or match any of the following. Based on this, you will be able to get it, like the information that you want in Password Manager Pro. So this is resource audit, right? So like it's okay to find out the resource audit as and when there was an occurrence. Okay, so on a later date an operation was performed and you want to find it, you get here and you get the information that you want. What if you want it immediately, as in when an operation occurs, and you want it to be alerted immediately when it is happening, is what we are going to see. So there are two options here. So please make a note of it. This is very important and this will be very useful. One is audit actions. You have to go to the audit actions, configure resource audit, and under configure resource audit, you will have all the operation types again listed. You can say send email or generate a syslog and send it to your SIM solution, like Event Log Analyzer or Splunk, whatever SIM solution you have. You directly forward the logs right from here, or raise an SNMP trap. And also you can say notify to administrators, and you can specify the IP administrator's email address. So all that you can do to get information immediately. User performs an operation in Password Manager Pro. So this would enable this for every single thing that you have, every single operation or every single user, I would say. If he performs an operation, you will be notified, or every single resource. If you want this to be restricted for a certain number of passwords or certain number of resources, go to the resources section and go to groups. Go to groups, and you have the groups set up here. And after the groups, like next, right beneath it, right beside it, you will see the actions, and click on the actions and say configure notifications. So when you click on this, you have this options which says password accessed, password changed, password share changed, and all these information, so that whatever happens within this group, the passwords or resources, you can just directly get access to it, like get alerted about it. So it alerts you immediately as and when it occurs. So we have all these notifications that can be enabled right on the resource group level. That is, you have certain number of privileged accounts put inside a group. So all you need to do is you have to go here to the actions, and you have to say configure notifications, and you can say password accessed. You can configure it as owner, users having permission to access the passwords, other users, or you can specify email address, right? And also if a password is changed, you can set up a notification here, password policy violated. All this can be configured on the resource group level. Number one is on the audits, and number two is on the resource group level. Go to actions and configure notifications. Going back to the audit section, resource audit. So configure resource audit is what we were seeing earlier, to configure the real-time notifications in Password Manager Pro, like email or syslog or SNMP trap. Password Manager Pro has the habit of storing the passwords, storing the audits since the day one the product is installed. So we don't purge anything, we don't delete anything. All right, so we store it. So we store it countless. There is no end date. We just store it. If you want to purge the audit based on your requirement, right? So you want just a few months data and you are not bothered about the old data. We have provided you option here that you can specify how older data that you would like to retain and what are the data you would like to delete. You don't want to, you're not bothered about the old data. Like you just wanted to have 6 months data calculated in days and enter the days old here. So it retains only that amount of data and clears all the old data. So this is again completely optional. If you want, you can just enable this in Password Manager Pro, which is purging the audits. And send email, syslog. If you have a like a SIM solution, syslog, you can enable it so it collects the logs right from Password Manager Pro. Based on that, you can even set up an alert even in your SIM solution too. And next comes the user audit in Password Manager Pro. Right? So similar to the resource audit, you also have the operation types right here, the user audit, which would track the user's operation, a user logging in, so performing any operation will be audited right here under the user audit. And even this can be filtered here using this option. So the operation list is quite big that you can see, and you can also configure the user audit to raise immediate alerts that you wish to have. And task audit is about the schedules. So Password Manager Pro can be configured to do some scheduled tasks like password reset schedule, Active Directory synchronization schedule, and backup will be scheduled on a periodic basis, the database backup. To see the status of that, you have to get here to the task audit. So these are the three important sections to check, which would be very useful for the auditors to check what's going on there with Password Manager Pro and the privileged accounts. User sessions is about a single user. What are all the operations a single user performs will be available right here under the user sessions. So if you click on the user, you'll be able to get the complete information, and you also have an option to terminate the user session right from here. So if you click on terminate, it just terminates, and I will put a reason here and terminates the session of a user who is being using Password Manager Pro. And you can also get the information, search for the username and get the information out of it, right? So these are the types of audits available in Password Manager Pro. So once again, gentlemen, if you have any questions, feel free to just drop the questions in the questions panel, and I'll be more than happy to answer those questions towards the end or through an email. So the next is about monitor activity on privileged accounts. So privileged accounts should be protected. So protected is not just storing them in a vault, a secure vault. It's not where the protection ends, right? So you're just putting it in a safe vault with multiple layers of encryption. Nobody can get access to it. It's just not where the protection ends. It goes further and it comes with session monitoring, recording, and auditing. So auditing is what we saw so far. Apart from auditing, you have to monitor a user activity, and also like you have to record what each and everything a user does. So that is what it comes next in the list. So basically, this helps to enforce the proper behavior and adherence to security protocols. And it also helps you to avoid mistakes by the employees or the other IT users because they know that they are being monitored. So you are like letting them know that you're being monitored so that they don't do like any malicious activities when a user, so that's a human tender, like when they know that they are being watched, they don't do any mistakes, right? uh, so security team or like security officer out there in organization should be able to see it at a glance, that the policies are, what are the policies that are implemented and what are the exceptions required and all that. Based on that, like based on the reports or the monitoring, they can train the users on how secure they can be. And also if a breach occurs otherwise in an organization, so this recording will help you to find like a digital forensic analysis that you can run to find out the root cause and identify the critical controls that can be improved to reduce the risk, right? So you can monitor and find the sessions that has been recorded. So that is what we are going to do, right? So see right now, Password Manager Pro records the session. Okay, so when I RDP to a server, so I'm going to show you how we can do it. So I have an account here. I'm just logging into the domain controller right from Password Manager Pro. So it just opens it in a new tab, and this is how our technology works. And even this has been covered in our masterclass. You can just take a look at it because I'm not going to go in detail on this right now. So whatever the session I do is being recorded and also can be monitored by another administrator. So if I go to the audit tab, and this is where it is being used in the audits, which says active privilege sessions, I can join simultaneously along with the user. I can terminate the session if needed. If it is done by a different user, I can join, help him out, or I can monitor even without him knowing that I'm monitoring him. As an administrator, I have to do it, or security administrator, I have to do it, right? When I have a vendor coming into the office, I give him access to the critical servers. I have to monitor. I can just sit behind and see what he's doing. I can just use the Password Manager Pro to provide secure access and also monitor the vendor about what he's up to. And also, it records the connection. So whatever the user does on a later date, if you want to just give it to your auditor or someone, you can just click on this button, which would show you the SSH sessions, and also the RDP sessions will be audited, which will be available as a recording right here. So you can see what the user was up to. So Password Manager Pro monitors as well as records the connections. So one last thing that I would like to cover in the audits tab is the keys audit, right? Password Manager Pro, apart from just storing passwords, managing the password, it also helps you to manage the keys, SSH keys, the public-private keys. You want to rotate it periodically, you want to manage it. Even Password Manager Pro helps you with that. And keys audit is where you find out the audit about your SSH keys. So this completes about the audit section that we have in Password Manager Pro. And next we are going into the Password Manager Pro reports. So we have a lot of reports in Password Manager Pro. Too many reports. So if you want anything, you can get out of the Password Manager Pro. So whatever you think, you can just get out of it, right? So we have provided so many options in the tool. So I have segregated them as canned reports, custom reports, compliance reports, and query reports. Canned reports, what I would define them is that the reports that we provided to you out of the box, so that are pre-built and are available out of the box, are canned reports. Second one is custom reports that you can build it on your own. Third one is compliance reports, and the fourth one is query reports. So canned reports, what are the reports that comes into the canned reports is that password reports, user reports, general reports, and you have certificate reports and SSH reports. So these are the canned reports that comes under by default with the product. You want any information, you can just say generate report and fetch the information out of it. You can export it and send it to the auditor, or you can just take a look at it right from the reports here, or you can print it or email or PDF. It's also available. So password compliance, just fix the password compliance, or the policy violations, all that information is available here under this report. And these reports, we have also provided customization. So if you want any data or certain period of time, like last 2 months data you want, you can just define it here and pull the report only on for that specific date and time. So this is about password reports, which comes under the canned reports. User reports, again available as user access, activity, and ungrouped passwords. General reports is a complete executive report about how you have set a Password Manager Pro. So with just one click, you will be able to see how the product is being set up with all the beautiful bar graph there. And custom reports. So we have pre-built 7 custom reports for you, which can be generated or edited if you want, or you can also create custom reports based on your requirement. If you want to fetch information about a particular department of users, create a custom report which would help you to give the information to your auditor. And next is the compliance report, which is very important. So for now, we support PCI-DSS compliance, ISO-IEC 27001 compliance report, NERC-CIP compliance report, GDPR compliance report. So we sat and we just wrote down whatever is required, what are the sections required for privileged access management is all covered under PCI-DSS, then you can generate a report. Similarly, we have ISO-IEC and whatever the controls for ISO-IEC required, and whatever the GDPR requirements is available, you can just get out of it from Password Manager Pro and NERC-CIP compliance report. Whatever the CIPs you have, you can generate the report based on that. So this will be like any certifications you are going to take, this will be immediately available right in front of the auditors. And also, like, we are working on HIPAA report, which will be available shortly in Password Manager Pro. So this would be helpful for you to get an immediate certificate for the compliance, which is the compliance reports. And you have certificate reports and SSH keys reports. Complete the information about the certificates. Let me give you a brief about what it is, like certificate reports. Apart from passwords, SSH keys, public private keys, you can also use Password Manager Pro to manage the certificates. That is, automatically renew your certificate, push your certificate to your CA, or like your certificate store, or if any application requires a certificate, you can directly send it. It also monitors the expiry date, the certificate violations, and all information it monitors. All that certificate reports will be available right here under the certificate reports section in Password Manager Pro. So we have provided all this, and if you want more information, we have like a few categories, a query report that you can run out of Password Manager Pro. Like you want to get the information about list of accounts which are mapped with Active Directory self-service plus domains, or any query report that you want information about, list of passwords that do not contain both numeric and alphabetic characters, which would be very important, like useful for you to, like, if there's a rule that you have to have numeric and alphabetic characters, you can fetch out the information using the query report. Or if we have provided the complete table schema of Password Manager Pro, you can take a look, and also you can just execute the query to get the information right out of the database using the query reports in Password Manager Pro. So you have to just say create query report, report name, description, report category, and if you wanted to have it only for you, just go ahead and create an SQL query, and that will be available for you, which is query report. So any information that you can't get out of any of our canned customer compliance reports, you can make use of the query reports to do it. And if you want any information, just drop us an email to passwordmanagerpro-support@manageengine.com to say that you want this query to get this information. We will give you the query that you can construct and use it, right? So very useful reports. So that's pretty much it for today's session. And as I told you earlier, just feel free to drop me your questions in the questions window. I'll wait. And I will try to answer almost like most of the questions now. And if you have more questions coming on your way, feel free to drop me an email to christus@manageengine.com or passwordmanagerpro-support@manageengine.com. So while I wait for the questions, so I hope all our sessions were useful for all the attendees. If you have missed, just please go ahead to this link and view webinar, which would show you all the information about our previous masterclass. So what we are with our solution, what we are trying to help you out, all the IT administrators, right? There is like, there are six, I have built it as 7 set of policies that a privileged access management requires, or a life cycle, you can say in other words, which is the first one, define. So define what are the privileged accounts and their access in your organization. First, define it. Discover. So make sure you discover all the privileged accounts, the important accounts in your IT infrastructure. Discover each and every privileged accounts and have them onboarded. So into a secure vault like Password Manager Pro. Manage and protect, right? So just protecting is not enough. Like just putting into the vault or so you have a password as administrator at 123. It doesn't make sense to have the password lifelong for 20 years, 30 years. Doesn't make sense. So you have to protect as well as manage the passwords. You have to rotate them on a periodic basis using Password Manager Pro. And the fourth one that comes down the line is monitor. Monitor the activity around the privileged access and detect the usage of privileged access. Monitor just and also detect the usage, respond immediately if there is any actions that has taken place that shouldn't be happening. Respond immediately to help your IT infrastructure from potential threats. Finally, review and audit is what we saw. Review through reports and audits, set up alerts through like SIM solutions and all that. So to stay compliant with your IT infrastructure or the IT compliance journey, right? So that's it. That is pretty much about it. And I'm waiting for questions. I hope there's no questions so far. Yeah, so there is no question so far. And so just go ahead and use and play with the product. And if you have any questions or if you come up with any questions, feel free to just drop us an email, either directly to me or Password Manager Pro-support at ManageEngine.com. We will be more than happy to help you out. And thank you so much, participants. Thank you so much for being so attentive throughout this webinar and the masterclass. So any questions, just feel free to drop me an email. And I wish you a Merry Christmas and a wonderful New Year 2020. Take care and have a nice weekend.